California is about to become the test case for whether a president can override your state's laws to help one oil company, and the story behind it involves leaked audio of a CEO promising to put Trump's name in 70-foot gold letters on an offshore platform, a national emergency created by a war we started, and an FBI warning that Iran might launch drones from a ship off the coast, all happening at the same time. In the next few minutes, you'll understand how a single company went from bankruptcy to invoking Cold War powers, how the Strait of Hormuz closure is being weaponized to override California law, and why this precedent could reshape every energy fight in America for the next 50 years. I'm Mark Roach, 30 years in upstream oil and gas. 3 offshore oil platforms sit 9 miles off Santa Barbara County. They've been shut down for 11 years since pipeline rupture dumped 120,000 gallons of crude into the coast in 2015. One of California's worst oil spills ever. In 2024, a company called Sable Offshore bought those platforms from Exxon, a $988 million purchase. They borrowed $625 million of that from Exxon itself. The deal had a deadline. If Sable didn't restart production by March 1st, 2026, the assets revert back to Exxon. No compensation. Well, California regulators said no. The Coastal Commission issued cease and desist orders. Sable ignored them, something no company's ever done before. California fined Sable $18 million, the largest fine in commission history. The Santa Barbara County District Attorney filed felony criminal charges. The state attorney general sued for illegal wastewater discharge. Sable kept moving the restart date. September 2024, December, January 2025, February, March. It never happened. The company has essentially zero revenue and is losing $410 million a year. Then in October 2025, an investigative outlet called Hunter Brook Media obtained leaked audio from a private investor call. The CEO, Jim Flores, is heard discussing how to get the stock price back up before raising $200 million in equity. An investor on the call suggests announcing things, quote, without seemingly overly manipulative. Flores talks about reaching Trump. He says he offered to put gold leaf on the platforms with Trump's name in letters 50 feet tall or 70 feet tall so Oprah could see them from Montecito. Trump reportedly liked it in gold. Phil Mickelson, the pro golfer, is a Sable shareholder. He's documented receiving material of company information from Flores and sharing it in a private group chat. Mickelson posted on social media calling on California officials to enable Sable to use a vulgar slur to attack an environmental lawyer opposing the project. When the record went public, Sable told investors it was AI generated. Independent AI detection confirmed it was highly unlikely to be fake. This is the company the federal government is about to invoke wartime emergency powers to support. Here's what changed. On February 28th, the United States and Israel launched joint strikes on Iran. Supreme Leader Khomeini was killed. Iran responded by effectively closing the Strait of Hormuz. That waterway normally carries 20% of global oil. Oil prices spiked. West Texas Intermediate went from $55 a barrel in late December to over $90 by March 12th. Brent crude briefly topped 100. The IEA called this the largest supply disruption in history. California has a problem nobody talks about. There are no crude oil pipelines connecting the West Coast to the Permian Basin or to the Mid-Continent. Every barrel refined in California must be produced locally or shipped from Alaska or imported by tanker. Bloomberg reported California depends on roughly 30% of its crude imports transiting the Strait of Hormuz. California is also losing refining capacity fast. Phillips 66 shut in its Los Angeles refinery 139,000 barrels a day at the end of last year, 2025. Valero is closing its Benicia facility 145,000 barrels a day in 2026, this year. That's 17% of the state's refining capacity gone in 12 months. Gas prices in California were already approaching $5 a gallon before the war. Now they're climbing higher. The Trump administration saw an opening. On March 3rd, the Department of Justice's Office of Legal Counsel published a 22-page opinion. It said under a presidential order under the Defense Production Act could preempt California state laws blocking Sable's restart. The opinion acknowledged the author did not independently verify Sable's claims, but accepted them at face value. Sable's stock jumped 12% that day. And then on March 11th, Bloomberg reported Trump is preparing to formally invoke the Defense Production Act. A White House official said any announcement would come directly from the president. The stock surged another 16%. Trading was halted on a circuit breaker. The Defense Production Act was signed by Harry Truman in 1950 during the Korean War. It gives the president sweeping authority to direct private industry to meet national defense needs. Nixon used it during the 1973 oil embargo to divert oil to the military. Biden invoked it for COVID response. Trump used it in 2025 to ramp up domestic mineral production. But using the DPA to override a state's environmental and safety regulations to benefit a single privately held offshore oil company has never been done before. Environmental Defense Center Chief Counsel Linda Kropp warned, quote, "This is probably not a one-off. They're the first test of if the president can override state laws. They'll try to do it. They'll try to do this in every state." Here's part of what makes this even stranger. On March 11th, ABC News reported the FBI circulated a bulletin to California law enforcement. It said the Bureau acquired information that as of early February 2026, Iran allegedly aspired to conduct a surprise attack using drones from a vessel off the coast of the United States, specifically against targets in California. The FBI stated that it has no additional information on the timing, method, target, or perpetrators. Law enforcement sources described the intelligence as uncorroborated and cautionary. But California elevated its security posture. LAPD and the LA County Sheriff's Department issued statements about the heightened vigilance. The Oscars security perimeter on March 16th is expanded with SWAT teams, snipers, and undercover officers. The timing is extraordinary. The administration launched the Iran war. The war closed the Strait of Hormuz. The Hormuz closure created a supply crisis. The supply crisis is now being used to justify invoking Cold War emergency powers to override California law for a single company. The emergency that justifies the DPA invocation is a direct consequence of the administration's own military action. And if the FBI's intelligence on Iranian drone threats against California moves from uncorroborated to credible, well, it transforms the entire debate from an energy policy argument into a genuine national security emergency, which is the precise legal framework the DPA requires. Here's what the math actually says. At peak theoretical production, Sable might eventually produce 30 to 50,000 barrels a day. The United States currently produces 13.5 million barrels a day. Sable's contribution would be roughly 0.05% of national output. Governor Newsom's spokesperson called it, quote, "a drop in the bucket that would have zero impact on oil prices. This will not move gasoline prices. The DPA invocation is not about energy security arithmetic. It's about political messaging and establishing a legal precedent. If this order stands, it establishes that any future president can invoke a national defense emergency to override any state environmental or safety regulation that inconveniences a favored energy project. The precedent outlasts both the Sable project and the Trump administration. California Attorney General Rob Bonta has already sued the federal government over pipeline jurisdiction and is expected to challenge any DPA order. The legal battle will likely land in the Ninth Circuit. This is headed for a constitutional showdown on federal preemption of state environmental authority. Meanwhile, the upstream oil and gas industry isn't responding to $100 oil the way you might expect. Dan Doyle, writing for the oilprice.com, talked to chemical suppliers, operators, and service company managers on day 9 of the Iran war. The war never came up. No uptick in requests for proposals, no operators calling for frac schedules. The industry views this as a temporary war premium, not a structural change. That's the tell. The people who actually drill wells don't believe this price spike lasts. They're not adding rigs. They're not accelerating completions. They're waiting to see if the strait reopens and prices collapse. Energy Secretary Chris Wright told CNBC on March 12th that the U.S. military is not ready to escort tankers through the Strait of Hormuz because, quote, all our military assets right now are focused on destroying Iran's offensive capabilities. He said escorts are, quote, quite likely by month end. 2 days earlier, Wright posted on social media that a tanker had been successfully escorted. The White House contradicted him. He deleted the post. Well, that's the credibility gap. The administration is invoking emergency powers to boost domestic production while its own energy secretary can't get the facts straight on whether the Navy has escorted a single ship. On March 10th, Trump announced America First Refining will build a 168,000 barrel a day refinery in Brownsville, Texas. The first new U.S. refinery in 50 years, backed by India's Reliance Industries. It's designed as a political cover against gas price anger, but that refinery won't be operational for years. It's the same playbook as the Sable DPA, energy action that won't move barrels in the near term. So what does all this mean for you? California cannot simultaneously oppose every form of in-state hydrocarbon production and infrastructure, and then act surprised when a global maritime disruption leaves it exposed. The state's structural energy vulnerability is real, but the solution to that vulnerability is not to invoke Cold War powers to override state law for a company that ignored cease and desist orders, racked up $18 million in fines, faces felony criminal charges, has $410 million in losses, essentially no revenue, and whose CEO was caught on audio discussing stock manipulation strategies and offering to put Trump's name in 70-foot gold letters on offshore platforms. The precedent this sets is far more dangerous than the barrels it might produce. If a president can declare a national defense emergency to force through one oil project in California, the same logic can be applied to any pipeline, any LNG terminal, any drilling ban in any state. The federal government will argue the emergency is real. Oil prices are high. California is exposed. The strait is closed. Iran's a threat. All of that is true. But the emergency was created by our own military action. The company benefiting has catastrophic governance, and the barrels won't move prices. This is about power. Who controls energy decisions, whether states have sovereignty over their own coastlines, and whether emergency powers designated for total war can be repurposed for corporate bailout. The convergence of the Iran war with Hormuz closure, the FBI drone memo, and the Sable DPA invocation all happening in the same state in the same 2-week window is not coincidence. It's a collision of geopolitics, corporate desperation, and constitutional crisis. What happens next in the Ninth Circuit? Watch whether the FBI drone intelligence gets upgraded from uncorroborated to credible. Watch whether Chris Wright can actually deliver Navy escorts by month end. And watch Sable's stock, because the people trading it are betting real money on whether this precedent holds. I'm Mark Roach with FutureWise Energy. In energy, the most expensive precedents are the ones set during emergencies because they're still binding long after the emergency ends.